That was triple vision.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to you on a Wednesday here at lovely Miller's Ale House on Chastain Road in Kennesaw. We're here with the Owls Show, the Owls Who Live Sports. My name is Chuck Burns, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney. And we're happy to have you here on a Wednesday night. Give me a big hooty-hoo. 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 Go Owls. We're here to talk about our favorite college team in the world, the Kennesaw State University Owls. We have had quite the week here at KSU. We'll start out with our tennis team. They went 6-1. They won 6-1.
6-1
on Monday night. So very happy about the Owls being successful in tennis. And we've also had a couple of pretty good basketball games. Unfortunately, the girls took a couple of very close losses on Thursday night and Saturday. They lost one in overtime by 3 and lost another one on Saturday by 4. Larry, we still have that music playing in our background. Thank you. I didn't think we were going to dance or whatever, but it's pretty good. So, but the boys also won two big games on last Thursday night and Saturday. A couple of whippings on some people. They played, I think, Jack State on Thursday, and they played Lipscomb on Saturday. Lipscomb.
I hardly even know them.
Lipscomb, I know, and I hardly even knew them. They a lot of fun to watch the boys now. We're up to 23 in one of the mid-major polls. And the last 3 weeks in one mid-major poll, we went from 3 votes to 19 votes to now 54 votes. So the Owls are climbing on up the rankings in basketball. So that's pretty cool.
And I'm glad to hear that, Chuck, but I really don't care what the people in Topeka have us rated as. Because, like I told you earlier, I looked at that list for the mid-majors. There's a bunch of garbage above us. I think KSU's taken out half of the teams in front of them easily. Not just like, well, they could play that game well. No, I think we're taking out half those teams easily. You know, this team has only lost 1 game since our trip to Bloomington, and that was on a last-second three-pointer from a guy who had made 10 three-pointers in the game.
And we beat them when they came to our stadium.
That's correct. That's correct. And then when you look at some of our losses, you know, you never know exactly how it's going to pan out. But at this point in time, you look back and you say San Diego State's 17-4, VCU is 16-6. Hoosiers were 15-6 before they just lost. But, you know, I mean, the teams that we did go out on the road and lose to, they're having pretty good seasons.
And we were competitive against those teams, too.
VCU was a 3 at the buzzer.
Yep. And then we also, I think we lost by 10 at Florida. Isn't that right?
That's correct. I left them off my list just because, you know.
Florida's not as good as the other team.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right. So great news about KSU men's basketball. We're moving forward. I don't think the men's tennis team has lost yet. They're 3-0. Correct. And that's some pretty good stuff. But
one more thing on basketball real quick.
Sure.
You know, we keep talking about, you know, the eventual showdown with Liberty and who's going to be the 1 seed. But because the March A-Sun tournament is being held at home, it almost doesn't matter at this point. You know, even if we were to be the second team, we're still going to have 3 games across the street at the Conversation Center.
That's true. We'll have 3 games before and if we have to go to Liberty. I think if we beat Liberty and we're tied with them, it'll be 4 games. Yeah.
Correct.
And we play Liberty on the 16th. I think it's 2 weeks from tomorrow.
But, you know, we keep talking about, you know, if we make it to March Madness and this and the other, we're going to have probably at least 3 home games to try to get us there. So, you know, looking good.
Feeling very good about the basketball team out at KSU. Robert, we signed National Signing Day yesterday. Today was the second National Signing Day for football. We got 9 new players, I think 4 on offense and 5 on defense. Isn't that right?
Oh, I saw a lot more than just that signed today.
Just signed today. Yeah, we got 9 players.
Because there also was a signing on Sunday.
No, back in December. Yeah.
Back in December.
Yeah.
But yes, on the newest players, linebacker, a few linebackers, few running backs.
One from Ware County, right? I think he was Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, I see him.
Yep. Got a quarterback and a wide receiver. So we have wrapped up a good class. And this is really a transition year. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but we cannot win an ASUN title next year. We have been booted from the ASUN officially. So we only have 7 games scheduled right now. Hopefully that'll change between now and the fall based on possibility of competition. But we're heading in the right direction. We get more scholarships, and we're heading up to Conference USA starting July 1st, 2024. It'll be here before you know it.
We got a big offensive lineman today out of Jacksonville State.
Transferred from Jacksonville State.
6'4", 330.
Also got a transfer from Jackson State.
Correct.
Where
linebacker.
Dion was coach.
That's correct.
Yeah. So Dion didn't get everybody to follow to Colorado. One of them had the sense to come to KSU. So we're very happy about that.
Absolutely.
You got any other notes on that?
I do not.
Well, let's move on. We have a first-time guest with us tonight on the Owl Show, and that's Mr. Teddy Parrish. Teddy, come on in and join us, brother. Hand by the big hootie-hoo for Teddy. There you go. All right, Teddy.
Hey, folks.
Welcome, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You bet. So Teddy and I met, I think sometime before, a long time ago, but
Yes.
we reconnected at the NIL golf
Sometime
tournament.
before a long time ago.
Yes.
Which means
Years
a
ago.
long time ago.
Yeah.
But we reconnected at the NIL golf tournament out at Dogwood Golf Club, and we started talking, and then I ran into Teddy Saturday at the basketball game. And Teddy is a former basketball player at KSU.
Yes.
Back in the
Mid-90s.
even before the O's. So it was like one of the first basketball teams here, was it not?
Well, I don't know. They were around. We were in Division II at the time.
Yeah.
So they did well in NAIA, but
Yeah.
I think we had just gotten into Division II ball. And
So
Yeah.
tell us the history of Teddy. How did you get into basketball? How young were you when you started playing?
wow. I mean, I've been playing most of my adult
He came
life.
from
I
the
mean,
swamp.
I came from the swamp. Oh, he did his research.
I
So
know.
I'm from Folkestone, Georgia, which is
Folkestone,
the
okay.
land of the trembling earth. Champ Bailey is the most recognized figure
Champ and
from down
Boss
there,
both
and
went to your school?
And that's my my cousins. I'm
Oh, are
very
they?
close to them.
Well, so they're the
And,
second most famous people from Folkestone.
I
other than
would
you.
dare say, but I'm either 2 or 3.
Okay.
But known for football, have a dynasty in terms of state championships in our
Folkestone High
division.
School?
Yes, Charlton County.
Charlton County.
But I come from down there, played ball there. I was all-state my senior year in basketball. Instead of going straight to a 4-year school, I played junior college in South Georgia, a junior college.
Where is
I
South
had-
Georgia Junior College?
It's in Douglas,
Oh,
Georgia.
yeah.
I had ambitions of actually going D1, and I was a little frustrated because I had great academics,
Yeah.
average great points my senior year, but didn't have any D1 offers.
Yeah.
Played a couple years down there, and heavily recruited coming out of JUCO, and my coach said, you may want to check out Kennesaw. It's an up-and-coming school, and I came to visit, had a great visit, and the rest is history. I mean, it was the writing was on the wall.
I hate to
As
ask
you
you this.
say.
Did you know the Halsey family in Douglas? They ran the newspaper.
I can't say that I do.
Okay, went to Georgia Southern with
Yeah,
Al
okay.
Wayne Halsey.
Great
He was
people
from
down there,
Douglas.
though.
Yeah, good people.
Yeah.
That's cool. I went to Georgia Southern, so
Okay,
I met a
wonderful,
lot of
wonderful.
people from all over the
There's a lot
South
going on
Georgia.
down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Statesboro's a great town.
So,
Georgia Southern's
who recruited you from Kennesaw State?
Greg Yarlett and Phil Zanoni.
Uh-huh.
Greg Yarlett picked me up on my official visit. That's when the Hawks were still playing in the Omni.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
yeah, things were different. I got snowed in up here.
So was
Oh,
this
wow.
after your 1 year?
2 years.
2 years
Yeah,
down there,
2
okay.
years. So I came up and on a trip, signed the next week, and came up that summer and enrolled, and the rest is history.
Or even for the mid-'90s, you say?
Mhm.
What a difference it has to be between Folkestone and Kennesaw, Georgia.
Oh yeah. I always wanted to be in the Atlanta area.
Did you?
And yes, and it's there's a lot going on up here that I was interested in. And Kennesaw State, as I knew it and as I was acquainted with on my visit, was a good school in business. And I was I had good grades. Academically, I was pretty strong. And I wanted to go into business. And so Kennesaw State, with back then they didn't have the dorms. There was nothing. We were staying in the apartments over off of Outerwood Way, and it was a great setup. And they showed me a good time.
Yeah.
I partied a little, and
You're in college,
yeah,
right?
good place. They had, and it did help that the year before I got here, they went pretty far into the NAIA tournament. That's when Daniel Dunlap, Columbus Ballard, Tony Williams, Israel Brown had just graduated. I mean, but those guys had a strong showing. They showed me a good time and showed me a good team atmosphere. Phil Zanoni had a good squad at that time.
So how many buildings do they have on campus? And I went to Kennesaw Junior College. We had 5 buildings. So I can't imagine what was midway between them.
He had 10.
He had 10, and now they got 100. Yeah.
And that counts a lot of things that aren't counted today. There wasn't much. I mean, the Burris building was pretty new, and it was a very immaculate, very nice structure. So it was very impressive.
Was Dave Harris still coaching PE here at the time?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I had him for every PE I took at Kennesaw, I think, except ice skating.
I didn't take PE. I took basketball.
Yeah.
And when I was in that building over there, we played basketball.
I won the intramural basketball championship 2 years in a row at Kennesaw Junior College.
Yeah, I actually played with Toomba, Big Toomba.
Oh, did you?
There, yeah, he was a 6'10", powerful, strong guy, very imposing figure.
Well, you're 6'5", right?
6'5" on paper, but really about 6'4". I probably shrank a half an inch.
Well, I must be 4'10" then, because if you shrink with old age. So, yeah. That's funny. Yeah. So that's cool. So that brought you to Kennesaw, and have you always been involved with the program ever since you left? Or?
Yes. So I did well in school. I majored in finance. I got to know the professors pretty well, and it just so happens that one of my professors gave me an invitation to interview for an internship with one Professor Gene Hensler, who had started a business out of his basement, and I interviewed with him for that position. And in finance, wealth management, I started out at the beginning of his company, and it grew very well, and I was a part of that whole ride. And so it was it kept me involved after that.
Let me ask you a question, because a lot of times people are only interested in where they're playing, how they're playing, and you, having done very well academically, decided to not go to the best academic choice, but to follow the dream, playing basketball. Now it's easy to say because you did make it to KSU and everything turned out so good, but do you love your path, and would you tell other people to follow their dream as well?
Yes, I have no regrets. Off of a tip from my coach, Wade Hughes, down in South Georgia Junior College.
From the other side of the swamp. You went from one side to the other.
Yes. So I'm a Georgia boy through and through, top to the bottom. Folkestone is the southernmost tip of Georgia.
Absolutely. So, you just drive through Waycross on your way to... That's great. A lot of folks don't know that. But the whole path, I would not change anything because, I pursued academics. I wanted to pay for my college education. I knew I wasn't going to make it to the next level. I wasn't trying to. I just wanted to not have any debt after I finished. And, I came up here with a mission knowing that I needed to establish my network and get to know my professors and everything, and it worked out well.
Did you have a scholarship the last 2 years?
Yes, I had a full scholarship coming in. I was pretty highly recruited coming out of JUCO.
Yeah.
Did you have one in JUCO?
Yes.
So your reasoning might not be the way I actually just stated it.
No, it's not.
You were having somebody else paying for your school, and that was the main thing.
I actually had academic scholarships coming out of high school. I pursued basketball because I was a little mad. Averaged 25 points, just below 15 rebounds my senior year, and I didn't have any exposure. So I wanted to play basketball. I ran track and everything else as well. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to pursue basketball.
Is that a function of being in Folkestone that you didn't get any exposure, you think?
I think
of course, media is not what it was then.
Yeah, at the time, yes, because the football program was just getting off of its feet, getting into that whole state championship talk. And we were overshadowed by Camden County, Valdosta, all of those guys. Waycross, absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, but, you didn't ask him your question. Did you not have that?
No, well, I was going to ask him. Usually I ask everybody a high school question. I was going to ask you, but I stopped because when I was doing the research, they were talking about your area is basically a glorified suburb of Jacksonville. Did you grow up thinking you lived in a suburb of Jacksonville?
No, not at the time, because the paper mill industry, was pretty big, and
Everybody
so
knows
Brunswick,
Brunsville.
St. Mary's, Camden County, Kings Bay submarine base,
Oh, yeah.
which was huge and still is huge, was very, very prominent.
Don't take your
employment
kayak up that
for
river,
the
kids.
folks. No, don't do it.
No, no,
and,
no.
so my folks, we're blue collar. My mom worked for Rome Pelunks, the chemical company, which was Union Carbide. My stepdad worked for Gilman Paper Company. They made 1/3 of the world's gold seal paper, so it was a big industry.
Well, my question would be, if you were filling out your starting five and you had one more player to pick, and there was 3 over to pick from. One was from Camden, one was from Colquitt, and the other one had a Waycross shirt on. Are you picking any of those guys?
I mean, there's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple. Camden County, in basketball or football.
In basketball.
In basketball, I would probably pick a guy by the name of Marlo Mobley, from Camden County, and there's a guy from Waycross that I would pick. He was known as String Bean. I can't remember his name, but he went on to play at Southwest Louisiana, and he was pretty good. He's like 16 guard.
Wow.
Never seen anybody that tall. It was like a
like a Magic.
yeah, like a Magic, but he was
There
really
weren't that
skinny.
many 6'10" people back then.
And he was, he dunked on me the first play of the game.
Yeah?
So, yeah, I still remember. We beat him though.
Yeah.
And so the teams we played were higher ranked, higher division, like 6A, 7A. And in basketball, we actually beat them a lot. I had a pretty good squad.
Yeah. We were just over 500 in basketball in high
Yeah.
school, but
I won my region 3 years back to back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, all state my senior year.
And you were center, obviously.
I was the 4. I had a guy by the name of Henry McMillan who actually started as defensive tackle for University of Florida on the team with Eric Red,
The 95
Chris
national
Carter,
championship.
Shane Matthews was the quarterback then.
Yeah, Shane Matthews. I remember him.
So he was my center, best friend.
Well,
Like
he-
6'5", 270.
we'll break it up and ask you this question, which we normally do later in the interview, but we're kind of on the right thing. He may have already answered it. You know what I'm going to ask you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know who I'm circling. But
Yeah, yeah. Who's the most famous person in your cell phone?
In my cell phone? Oh, man, that's crazy. Like really, it's probably maybe Samuel Jackson. Champ is pretty famous.
That's one I would have
Name
gone
somebody. I mean, I have
No,
a pretty thorough.
I think we were all thinking Champ until you said Samuel L.
Maria Bartiromo.
with. Oh, she from Fox
Neil
News.
Cavuto.
Yeah.
I mean, who's who? It's a pretty thorough list.
That's a
I'll
pretty
whip
good
it out for you.
How'd you
know.
meet Samuel
Oh,
L?
wait, don't say you'll whip it out.
It's a
for
long
me.
story. So I was on the board of directors for Kenny Leon's True Colors Theater Company in Atlanta for
Okay.
like 10 years. And, Kenny and Sam and Denzel Washington are pretty good friends. And he and Samuel went together to school in the AU. And over the years in golf tournaments and stuff as a board member, fundraisers and stuff, I got to know Sam. It's not that, he would answer the phone right now his number probably changed.
Yeah.
but
But
it's
he's
still
in
on
your
my
phone. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so
I think we've got a winner.
Yeah, I think this is probably we've had like
We've had a
World
lot-
Series participants and stuff.
We've got a lot of things.
Yeah, but I
nobody's
think
ever,
nobody
I mean,
whipped
he's
out Samuel L. Jackson.
He's a freaking Jedi.
Yeah.
And he used to read some really ruthless stuff to people right before he killed him in Pulp Fiction. And he's a bad man. He's top of my
He's
list.
a bad mamma jamma, no doubt about that. Robert, why don't we do a commercial before we continue with Teddy? We'll talk about next the KSU Foundation and what's going on with that.
great.
Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use files and paper photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos or videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper. Go Owls. Hooty hoo.
Go Owls, hooty hoo. There you go. All right. So talk with Carrick today because I didn't have a whole lot of time to do a lot of research on you, but he did tell me that you are the first alumni to ever handle the KSU Foundation. Tell us what's going on with that.
So yes, the KSU Foundation is an advocate for Kennesaw State University. Our job is to invest and steward all monies donated to Kennesaw State. Not all, but some that are directed to the endowment. And so we invest those funds so that they'll have intergenerational equity, meaning that, you know, this generation now has the same equity as the next generation. So we invested in perpetuity, and we do everything to advocate for the university, which means we advocate for the students. I've been on the board since about board of trustees since about 2010. I think Dan Papp when he was president. And, it's been one of my life's passions, to be honest with you, because I love KSU so much. But the work we do over there is to make sure that students have everything they need, and that we support the university and making sure students have a great experience. And that job is becoming more and more serious.
Sure.
As
bigger the school gets.
Yes.
More time consuming for you? Or?
So a lot of the real estate that we've acquired and the university has acquired over the years, we've played a significant role in that. And there were a lot of great folks on that foundation that came before me, and I've worked with a lot of great folks.
So what kind of, if we're building a new stadium, that's not where the money comes from out of your account, correct?
It's not my account.
No, I understand.
I mean the foundation.
I'm just trying to figure out what does the foundation money mostly get used for?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of different things. So if someone gives money to the university to endow a scholarship, we invest those funds so that money can last in perpetuity and actually fund that scholarship in perpetuity forever.
I gotcha.
So, I mean, it could be scholarships. It can be like the dorms. We were big into real estate and actually helping structure the creation of some of those dorms.
Is it a bad question for me to ask how much money's in the account?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, and it grows every day. I mean, the real estate side of it, I understand that there's the level of so it's a little ambiguity, I guess, because the Board of Regents, they dictate everything. So it's not that we own it; we just steward the funds for the university, and so some of the dorms we actually run. Some of that help them acquire those things, but the university in the end owns those things, as well as the Board of Regents controls a lot of the things that we do.
I gotcha.
So we help to structure deals to acquire things the right way. Yeah, because there's a lot of talent on the foundation that helps facilitate those things.
I had lunch Monday with a guy named Clay Caldwell, and Clay and Carrick, and I had lunch. I introduced him. Clay owns a company called PerTech. They handle repairs for hydraulic products, hoses and stuff like that. But he just became a baseball sponsor. Okay. And Carrick was telling me that some alumnus has come up with a huge amount of money to help build a baseball stadium. He said they're still talking to one more. But is that something you guys involved in? Anything
We're involved in all of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Because as you can imagine, when you're constructing large projects like that, you have to have an independent party that can help facilitate those things. So we just steward projects through the pipeline, and then also with some of the projects, real estate especially, there are bonds that are associated with it that actually pays for those things, and so the school doesn't handle that. I mean, a lot of times we facilitate those things, because the way taxes and laws and everything is set up, foundation, a nonprofit, is
501c3.
Yes, but it's very complex, and I've learned a lot over the years. Like I said, I've been on the board since about 2010, and there's a lot of talent and folks who have dedicated not just their time but their treasure in making sure that KSU has all of the resources that they need to grow to where we are now. But like I said, we have to do things in the right manner with the blessing of the Board of Regents.
Sure.
Because one thing I've learned over the years is that, it's not like Georgia against Kennesaw or Georgia State against Kennesaw. We're all one big happy family. I mean, us doing well it actually, means that Georgia does well, and I mean we work together in so many different ways. So it's one Georgia, and the thing is to have students get educated and become successful, and we advocate for them because all of that feeds down to the bottom line for the whole state and the nation.
It took a guy from South Georgia to say we're all on the same page, and we're not.
Don't say it, Robert.
We're not supposed to fight like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But we still want to beat them in something.
Oh, we want to
whether it's
slap
football,
we're all-
baseball,
slap 'em hard.
softball, or something.
Especially Mercer. We don't like Mercer.
We're all on
We
one
don't.
page except for the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm not a Bulldog fan.
But you can ask any question you want. There's nothing that's off limits. I mean,
Well-
I'm pretty well.
We basically talk about KSU sports, and we're happy to have the foundation on here. Does you also handle the NIL money that comes in, or does it all go to the foundation? Or is
No,
it a different
NIL
pot?
is a totally separate thing at the moment, and that's a pretty new situation, and that's still being built out. And personally, I will be involved with NIL, and I think that at some point maybe the foundation will be as well. At this point, we're not. That's a separate entity, as I understand it. But I will personally support the NIL because I think that given those changes, they've changed the landscape for sports. We have to be involved and have to have a very robust NIL program.
Absolutely.
So we were out at Carrick's tournament that benefit NIL.
Well, we saw us.
And
Yeah.
that's a great.
Dogwood National.
We got to do it.
Dogwood National.
We have to do it. That's right.
Yeah. And who is it? John and Barclay are heading up
Yep.
the.
John called me today. We play phone tag.
Yeah.
So I would like to maybe sometime to come on together because John played baseball at KSU when I was there.
Oh,
he was
yeah?
great.
Was he?
Yes, he was good. He was really good. And those were the glory days.
Yeah.
Yes, really.
Well, it's fun. Go ahead, Robert. You look like you got something.
No, I was just smiling when he said glory days.
No, Bruce Springsteen, I know you. So NIL, that's really what this show is about. Our show is to help introduce KSU sports to the community and to the business community in Kennesaw because of the opportunity that exists. Because we are now kind of moving up the ladder.
Yes.
And now's the time to get on the basement floor of a huge opportunity. So we're very much in favor of moving up to Conference USA. But we always talk about, and you can reiterate this if you would, that if you give $500 to Georgia or you give $500 to Clemson or Ohio State, doesn't mean anything. If you give $500 to KSU, it means a lot.
Yes. And that's one of the very reasons that I've always stayed involved because I felt like Kennesaw still feels like a community school where everything the community does is impacts the path. And it's still that way even though we have we're the third largest and we fluctuate between the second and the third largest.
Right.
We go with
we still
second,
can have an impact with like $500. That's correct. It's all in how you want to do things, what you want to participate in. But we, all of the funds that we can get, wherever you want to allocate those funds, I mean, it's helpful because it's all about the student experience.
Well, it's beautiful because we always talk about this show on the show about donating the money, but now you know who's going to get your money and who's going to invest it. It's
He's
Teddy.
going to run.
It's that
Teddy's
guy.
not going to run off with it.
He's not
Folks,
running away with it. He's just making sure that it grows and that it's there. We can use it multiple times.
Absolutely. I mean, and we have policies in place for that. There's a lot of red tape and there's a lot of
You don't have the
regulation.
debit card in your pocket.
Teddy doesn't
Oh
carry
no, I don't
the
have any. I don't
KSU
have the
debit
keys to anything. I am the vice chair elect for the foundation, which is
That's
a
awesome.
big responsibility, and I take it seriously. Like I said, it's one of my life's pleasures.
Well, it's not only a big responsibility; it's a huge honor.
It is an honor
to get that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is an honor,
And you have to treat it like an honor to answer the question like you just
Absolutely.
did.
Absolutely.
That's really good.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So let's go ahead and get our second commercial out of the way, Robert, if we would, with Bearcat Express.
Do you need a delivery right now? As in go now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Memphis to Augusta, Dothan to Charlotte, or even just Athens to Atlanta and all points in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express with their live tracking capabilities is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at bearcatexpress.com.
And as always, Blair Cook, thank you for your sponsorship. And David McDonough with Modern Image, we appreciate you. And we also have Albert Robinson that we'll be talking about.
One
more
coming.
One more coming in about 15 minutes. So if you want to be a part of this show, and part of our money goes to NIL at KSU, you can text Larry, the engineer, at 470-9-GO-OWLS. That's 470-9-GO-OWLS, and we'd love to have you be a part of the Owl Show going forward.
As long as Larry's not in Liechtenstein, he should get that message pretty quick. And,
Yeah. Yeah, Larry, he travels around a little bit, but he's okay. So getting back to Teddy, Teddy, what do you think? You probably even more so than me, because I was on the outside looking in for so many years once I graduated from KJC back in 1975. But you had a lot more hands-on opportunity to see the school change. As to me, where I left in 1975, I didn't come back till a couple of years ago. So tell us about that path and how it got there, in your opinion.
Well, I think that, we were a commuter school when I was here. I think we had about 10,000 students, and there were a lot of folks here who, they commuted and they were professionals. They came to school at night, and there was just more capacity that was needed for the state as folks migrated from up north. They wanted somewhere to go outside of Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern, and the capacity potential was there. And what we've done over those years is actually high graded and upgraded everything. I mean, from not being a research university to now being an R2 university, where you have really serious students that come here now because the value of that degree is very high. You had community stakeholders who invested in it. Michael J. Coles, I can remember when I was in the business school, he donated money to name the school after him. Yep. And that's a big deal. And then U.S. News and World Report picked it up, and they gave us the #1 entrepreneur MBA or whatever for
Alan Berry still working with that?
I believe so.
Yeah, Alan's a friend of mine. He's a good guy.
So I mean, it's like the value of the degree has gone up. It's because of everything we've done, and that all starts with education. We've done the right things and hired great professors, and we added on a lot of things that were needed for a university of our caliber.
With the addition of Southern Tech, was that a big part of that?
That was very, very huge.
A catalyst.
I think the two things we were missing, engineering and a stronger mathematics and architecture, and that just sealed the deal. And then it comes with a great legacy, of Southern Tech. I mean, that school goes way back, and it was a difficult transition, and we have honored and still honor to this day the legacy of Southern Tech, and they are KSU now.
They are, and I can tell you firsthand that I know a few people who graduated from Southern Tech, and these guys are hook, line, and sinker. I mean, they've told me multiple times, and I've never had this conversation about any other school with any other people. But these people, as far as they're concerned, are KSU alumni.
Yes,
and that's pretty awesome to have them feeling that way.
Because it fits right in. It's exactly what we needed.
Absolutely. You didn't want people who didn't want to be associated with you.
We had to merge foundations, the boards and everything, and they fit right in. In fact, the outgoing chairman of the KSU Board of Trustees was a Southern Tech grad, Trent Turk. Okay. He did an outstanding job during his term. So, I mean, we've crossed that bridge, and we're better for it, both universities.
I'm sure.
We are a force to be reckoned with. I mean, we can go blow for blow with the heavyweights anywhere.
My brother was on the board at Southern Tech for a long time, and Brian Adams, Brian?
Yes.
Brian's a good friend of mine. We played high school basketball together.
Okay.
Yeah. So is Brian on the KSU board now? Because I know he was on the Southern Tech board.
Put me on the spot. He was on the board.
Yeah. He was a year behind me at McEachern. Okay. But, Brian's got 11 kids. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Been busy.
Yeah.
That's great.
He had one every 2 years for 22 years, him and his wife, who also went to McEachern, and they homeschool all the kids.
Wow.
That's having a plan, isn't it?
You got to have a plan for that.
That's cool.
I think that basically means you have no plan. Once you figure out, wait, we have 11 kids.
He's going to have some support.
I said, Brian, don't you know what's causing it? He said, yeah, I like it so much we can't stop. So
They got a whole basketball team. Got 11.
Yeah.
You get
they
to
had a
pick up
van.
one other.
They had a 15-passenger van that they all traveled in together, which just
Wow.
blew me away.
Well, I know that we when I was playing ball at KSU back in the day, we played Southern Poly, and those were some. They recruited me heavily out of high school and out of junior college, and I visited them, Clayton State, Kennesaw, and some other bigger institutions.
Yeah. So why Kennesaw over Southern Tech?
Well, I mean, I think my JUCO college coach had a big impact on that. I mean, he sat me down and told me this is an up and coming school. I came up and visited, and the campus, the players that were there, they made a great impression on me.
None of this was here, though.
No,
All these restaurants,
none of it.
Testing,
None
no,
of it.
like
Nothing
this.
in there.
At all. We had we stayed in apartments off of Idlewood Way, which are still in existence
Yeah.
to this day, and it was just a good setup. You know, it was more independence.
Is that like greenhouse patio apartments?
No, actually over down Fry
Road.
Fry Road, and then take a left. It was Idlewood Way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think it's near where Kennesaw Place is now. And you know, we had independence. We had all of the athletes, scholarship athletes, that stayed in the same area. So, by the way, you don't ever want to get into a snowball fight with a Canadian softball player.
Because they know what they're doing.
Yes. It's like getting hit with a real.
Tell us that story.
Softball.
There's got to be a story behind that.
Yes. Yeah, I still have a bruise on my arm.
And who was this person?
I'm not going to say that, but it was a softball player. I think they won the national championship back then with Coach Scott Whitlock.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It was pretty fierce.
Reminds me of the days of battle ball in high school when Jerome Weddington got the ball. You ran to the corner and hoped you could get behind somebody.
But you know,
that wasn't any fun.
And I know obviously how intelligent you were. You spoke about academics, from the beginning. But at the same time, not wanting to get in a fight with a softball player from Canada.
Snowball fight.
Snowball fight. Mm-hmm. If you're from South Georgia and you've never seen snow, you should have just stayed out of that fight.
Yeah,
in the
well,
first place.
I was a little lippy.
Okay.
And
But that
I
stopped
I learned pretty fast though.
Yes, you
stopped. Used to light my grill up back there, and we had a good time. In fact, I was on the phone with one of my former teammates today. We have a great connect still. We have an alumni game. Well, not game, but day for the basketball
The
women's
11th.
and men on the 11th.
The 11th, yeah.
And I've been trying to get every one of them to come back because it feels good. We're actually winning, which is wonderful, but just the whole spirit of KSU.
Sure.
Well, I got an issue you might be able to help me with, or I might have to go to Milton. There's a guy named Walter Jordan who played for
I
the
know
Cleveland
Walter
Cavaliers. Walter?
Yeah. 6'10".
Walter's going to be on our show in 2 weeks.
Really?
When we talk about the NBA and the greatest five,
Awesome.
starting five of the NBA. But he's looking for a bunch of tickets to take some underprivileged kids to a basketball game.
Well, we need to get with Milton, and I can help with that as well.
Can I have Walter reach out to you?
You can do that. Walter
Okay.
knows me. My kid, Miles, went to North Cobb Christian, and he was over there working with Coach Mata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story about Walter. I met him Friday at the Ackworth Business Expo and started talking to him. And if you see Adam, the intern there, ATI, he's a big Purdue fan. And, Walter went to Purdue.
Okay.
And I said, hey, would you be interested in being on the show and talking about the NBA? He said, I'd love to. So I had to immediately stop my conversation with him and call Adam and say, dude, you're not going to believe who I got on the show. Walter Jordan's come on the show.
He's a good guy.
But Adam said, well, you won't believe this, but Walter's sister used to babysit Adam's dad.
Really?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So that's going to be a really good.
Life comes full circle.
Yeah, it
There's a
does.
guy that played at Purdue from my hometown. Is probably the hardest hitting guy that ever played at Purdue. His name's Joe Hagan. He played football for Purdue. And when
Be honest. Do you know him?
you should know him.
Do you know him? No.
Should know him.
Okay.
So Allstott, you know the fullback
Mike
from
Allstott.
Purdue. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said the player who hit him the hardest in his whole career. He was a hard-nosed guy.
He was a tough
the
fullback.
hardest hit he ever hit
Practice.
came from Joe Hagan.
During the practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe
Allstott
Hagan.
played at Tampa Bay too, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great fullback.
So Joe Hagan, do you know that name?
Yeah, he should.
He knows him.
He's
so.
like all world.
Yeah, that's cool.
He hit so hard he hurt himself. That's how he had to retire. He hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, that's crazy. We talk a little bit about basketball too, and when you played, where was your favorite gym you played in, other than the Convocation Center? Oh, you didn't went in the Convocation Center.
It was the old
gym.
Betty Siegel Student Center is now.
Yeah.
Right. So where's the favorite gym I played in? College games.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You didn't play like it. Y'all didn't play Duke and Cameron.
No, I would say there's two. But UNC Spartanburg.
Yeah.
And then also Berry College. I used to love
in
to
Rome.
play at Berry because it was like a heat box in there, and it was always congested and packed, and we did exceptionally well. And then last but not least, the team that was probably the toughest team we ever played, and we beat them once, I believe. Life College. They had a semi-pro team.
Was Roger Kaiser the coach?
Yes,
there?
he was, and they had a team for you. And I just remember we beat them, or just barely lost to them one. But it was a great comeback because the game before that we played them, they beat us like about 35.
Wow.
They had a squad. And I got a dunk on somebody's face, and that made my whole college career.
What was the least favorite gym you had to play in?
Probably Clayton State.
Yeah?
Yeah, the floors were hard, the rims were hard.
I can imagine that would not have been woo, where are we going this weekend?
And North Georgia wasn't all that great either.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, my least favorite was Westminster High School.
Okay.
Have you ever been down there? Because they have the rubberized floors. They didn't have the wooden floors.
Yeah.
And not only that, like this is our basketball court. At the end of each court, they had another practice court going perpendicular. So you had no depth perception at all. I mean, you're 50 feet away from either wall, and that's a lot harder to shoot than you used to shooting at a wall. I know you went to Westminster.
That was our home field advantage.
Yeah, I know it was. Home court advantage.
I didn't think rubber was invented when you went to college.
Thank you so
or
much.
high school.
Don't you laugh. You're not that far behind me.
I know, but I played in a bunch of rubber on a bunch of rubber floors in high school, and I hated it. If you fall, if you hustle like I did, and I was a defensive specialist, and you dove for balls,
it's taking
That's
all
no fun
the
coming up.
oh,
Yeah.
man, yeah.
I think
And you guys didn't have the things that the players wear now in football games.
No, the elbow pads with the name.
It's that piece of tape
Yeah.
that when you slide down it.
Well, Mike Redd used to do a pretty good job. Mike Redd works at Kennesaw now, but he was a trainer back then, and he did a pretty good job taping us up. I never had any ankle injuries.
How much has basketball changed since you and I played? I know it's changed a lot since I played.
It's changed a lot because there's Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry to death, but he ruined the game. Everybody's trying to shoot
Everybody
NBA
trying to be
three-pointer.
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If Steph Curry went into a time machine and he went back and he had to go against Mason, Oakley, and Ewing, would he play ever again?
he probably would have played a half a season and averaged like 2 points.
And nobody would ever remember his name
right,
because the
because
game's changed that much.
Or Lambeer and Rodman. And
Yes.
Oh, God, what a crew. What a crew.
Yeah.
I think I told you I played against Mike Glenn in high
Okay.
school,
Yeah.
and he tore me up. And I was a defensive specialist, too.
The best player I played against, well, I could get my top 5, but one of the best players I ever played against was Frankie King. I don't know if you know the name or not. From Alma, Georgia.
I know
led
where
the
Alma
nation.
is. Yeah.
In Brunswick Junior College, in JUCO, and he led the nation at East Carolina, D1 in basketball.
Wow, that's
scoring
cool.
points. He was great.
Alma's where they send all the troubled children back in my childhood.
No comment.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, Taylor, we'll let you go if you want.
If you want me to stay on, I'm here. I'm here.
We'll probably bring you back many times. I can tell.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna, we can talk to you about this or that or
Whatever
somewhere
you want
in
to talk
between.
about. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Hey,
know,
Larry, why don't you see if we can get Garrett or Will on for a couple of minutes? They haven't been on in a long time. Or Caitlin, if you can grab Caitlin. Caitlin would be the first one. Do you know Caitlin? She's a waitress here. She throws a javelin at KSU
Really?
now. Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Track team's done well. I do want to be involved in the NEAL program and do some, if I to sponsor whatever with my company, I'm willing to do that. So
I'd love
Great.
to be
you
a
have
part
all
of
of
it.
my information.
Yeah, I got you.
Something
Well,
and
we don't
I'll-
have all your information, but we will soon.
That's cool. That's right.
That's cool. Well, Teddy, thanks, man. What a
Thanks
thrill.
for having me.
It's been a thrill to have you,
Yes.
brother. And,
Anytime.
all right,
Thanks
cool.
for coming.
Take care.
Put your hands together for Teddy Parrish and Amadi Hoo. Thanks, Teddy.
Thanks, guys.
So that was pretty cool, huh? Let's get our last commercial out of the way before we get Will the Thrill in here.
Welcome to one of the most efficient and service-oriented mortgage experiences in America. Supreme Lending was founded in 1999 with one goal in mind: to improve the mortgage process. And since then, we've been doing just that. Here we deliver exceptional service and some of the fastest turn times in the industry. Whether it's your first mortgage loan or your 1,000th, it's time to make it a Supreme one.
And thank you, Alvin, for joining us as a sponsor. And looks like we just got another one, Teddy and his group, so that's pretty cool. All I got to say now is, whose ball?
Al's ball.
Whose ball?
I can't do it at full volume here.
Okay, yeah, I know you can't.
But if you go hang out with them on a Thursday or a Saturday, you can hear it at a much different decibel.
Absolutely.
Much higher decibel, yeah. So, cool. Thanks for sitting in with us for a few minutes here, Will the Thrill.
Awesome.
Tell us what's going on at Owls basketball. I can say a lot because I'm there most games now.
Well, we've got the men's basketball is doing phenomenal. They've 7 games in a row. There's a win streak. This is the most wins they've ever had since they went up to Division I.
Yeah, 16 now, or 17.
Yeah.
17-6 now.
17-6. Yeah.
So that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Our coach Abdur Rahim Amir. It's his 4th season, and his first season he had 1 win, I think, or 1 conference win, and but that was all about changing the program, changing the mindset of the program, and since then he's come a long way, and the last 2 games we set records for home attendance, so it's good
Carrick
that people are
texted me that
noticing
today.
and
That's
people
cool.
are showing up.
I'm honored to be a part of that. So we've only got 3 home games left, right, before the
3
playoffs.
men's games.
3
I think
men's games, yeah.
There's 4 or 5 women's.
4, I think, women's, yeah. But we have the game on the 11th. Who do we play this week? We play Bellarmine. Is that right?
I think that's tomorrow night.
That's tomorrow
Bellarmine.
night. No, it's Bellarmine. I've been corrected. That's at Bellarmine, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We're not playing at home again until next Thursday night.
I believe that's
We've got
correct.
2 away games, right?
Right.
And then we play Thursday and Saturday at home. And the 11th is the Saturday, and that's Alumni Day.
And
So-
that's another doubleheader.
Yep. You can get tickets for both games for a total of $8, which is pretty strong
Yeah.
for a
Talking about
couple
on
of
Saturday the 11th.
Yeah, Saturday 11th. There's some great basketball games. As a matter of fact, we have some tickets available to that game. Alvin Robinson, our sponsor, is giving away 3 tickets to that game. So if you want them, contact us at 470-9-GO-OWLS, and we'll be glad to give them to you.
2 minutes.
And well, no, our phone doesn't stop ringing just because the show's over.
No, it doesn't. But if somebody's getting free 3 tickets to one of the hottest games, I want to know that they're watching right now and that they didn't see this a day from now.
Then we'll do this next week and
Absolutely.
and make them live during the show.
Absolutely.
All right, there you go. All right. But we will have tickets next week for the day of the 11th. And I will be at the game on the 16th. So I don't know which other game there is. There's the 11th and the 16th and the 18th, I think, right? Or the 19th.
We're
They play the 19th.
We're at home on the 16th, 18th, and the 11th.
Okay, so
Yeah.
16th, 18th, and 11th. Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a Thursday, Saturday, and Saturday.
Yeah. Now everybody needs to be in the game for the 16th because that's against Liberty, and we're tied for first place with them in the ASUN, and probably between the 2 games that we play against Liberty, the one in the regular season, and it looks like we could play against them in the finals of the ASUN tournament. That may determine us going to the big dance, which would just be a whole lot of fun.
But as we were talking about earlier, because it is a home court advantage for the higher seed, even though we're still wondering if we're going to get a top seed, by distancing ourselves from everybody else, the first round, the second round, the third round are going to be here.
At
So
KSU.
we're only looking, that Liberty game is basically who's hosting that final game on a Sunday. But, we keep up all this good work. I think we'll be ready to make. I just pulled it up on my phone just to ask him if he had ever traveled the 6 hours and 56 minutes to Lynchburg, Virginia.
I have.
Just in case it ever goes there.
That's where Liberty is?
Yeah, there's two. There's the way I would go is up 75 through Knoxville, and then up Highway 81, I believe it is.
That's correct.
The west side of
That's
Virginia.
the
And then get off
7
at,
hour
Roanoke
and
go
21, 502 miles that way.
Yeah. And by the way, there's a phenomenal D-Day memorial in Bedford, Virginia. And it's not sponsored. It's not a federal government memorial. It's sponsored by. It's a veteran-run memorial.
That's cool.
For D-Day, and it's very neat. I actually stopped there on my way to the Kennesaw Liberty football game.
Were you with the missus?
I was by myself for that one.
I was gonna say you make her stop at a lot of places, don't you? Hey, we're just gonna pull over for a minute here.
You know what he calls his wife?
Yeah,
What?
Chuck.
Chuck.
There you go. Yeah. So I'm kind of like his. No, I won't even
No,
go there.
no.
So
no.
when Chuck the She goes with you, if you go to Liberty, do you stop at any of the distilleries and stuff up there on the way?
We would take an extra day and do that. She wasn't traveling as much when I did that trip.
Yeah.
But she found out how much fun it is, and so now she's traveling a bunch more.
So when the basketball team travels, we're flying. We're on a bus. Do you know?
It depends on where we're playing.
So I'm just wondering, if we, obviously we want to host that game so that we don't have to drive 7 hours and 500 miles. But I'm guessing that would be a flight. I would think.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I really don't. That's border for the football team. That's borderline
Bus
as far as time.
Yeah.
But with the basketball team, it's only one bus, and I would assume you would drive up the day before.
Well, as it is, I'm just trying to make time on the world's greatest television show because we all know Liberty is going down in a
And
week
Liberty
a half.
has a chance, by the way, to become a really good rival because they're going to Conference USA with us.
That is correct.
So I'm looking forward to this continuing for a long time.
You talking about this show?
Well, this
That
show,
too.
the rivalry with Liberty.
The Flames, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. The Liberty Flames. Yeah, they're going to be going down in flames, not us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't do it.
What?
That wasn't that bad.
You weren't supposed to be looking at me.
You got caught.
I got caught. That's funny. So we have determined that if we do go to the dance, it's one of four places, right? Birmingham, Greensboro.
You're more knowledgeable of this than I am.
Birmingham, Greensboro, Orlando, and there was one other one.
In the Northwest. Wasn't there one like Seattle or something
No,
weird?
they're
no,
all
this
over.
this
Albany,
one-
New York. They could be.
These are the four closest ones.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that we could actually get in a car and travel to.
Birmingham.
Greensboro, and Orlando, and there was one more. And Adam, do you remember which one it was? No. So I've got Orlando covered. I got a buddy that has a house. He said many of us who want to can sleep on his floor.
Has
So,
he ever watched the show, Chuck?
He has, as a matter of
Because
fact. Yeah.
saying that we can all show up and not.
He hasn't
really-
met me yet.
No, he has
All
not
of
met
us
Will
are.
the Thrill yet, but yeah. But I got Orlando covered. I might even be able to get us some tickets to Disney World to go walk around there one day. But you can take one of the other cities, and Garrett can take one, and Robert can take one, and we'll get on the road and go see some basketball. I'm very excited. The more I watch them, the more excited I get.
Yeah,
And
they're doing phenomenal. And the future, I mean, I didn't realize that one guy that's been playing a lot of minutes, Brian Cottle, is a freshman.
yeah.
Correct.
I mean, he's got years to go.
Yeah.
And he's playing some phenomenal basketball.
Yeah. So who are all the seniors? I think this is Robinson's last year, right?
I believe it's Robinson and the other center.
Peterson?
I think he's a senior as well.
Is he really?
No.
Oh, yeah, but they've got like a 6'10" or 7'1" guy coming in, right?
Coming in. Now,
yeah.
LaRue's a junior.
Yeah.
Um,
LaRue for
yeah.
two.
Yeah, LaRue is one of my favorite players just to come in just because I love saying his name.
I know you do. I sit next to you. I know you do.
So Robinson, Burden,
Terrell Bird's a
Burden,
senior,
that's
too?
it.
Is he a
Alex
senior?
Peterson,
Now, Youngblood's a junior.
Yeah. Chris has come
Armani
back 1 year.
Harris, Spencer Rogers
Spencer plays some, too, doesn't
are
he?
Yeah.
all seniors.
Spencer Rogers was one I was thinking of.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. that still is a good crew.
It's an exciting team. I mean, and once again, if we're able to have this good of a team right now without the excitement that we're generating this year, you know, if you're a 3 or 4 star athlete who's looking for a place to go, you know it's not Tech or Georgia at this point. You should come over here and join the fun because this team's going places.
It is. And again, it's all about the exposure going forward. We're going to get some exposure for
More
the
and more.
A-Sun. More and more. Every week we get better. I think we moved up from 3 points in the voting as a 19 to now last week we had 54 points in the mid-major voting. Very, very impressive team. I enjoy watching them more. I will have season tickets next year and won't have to rely on you to get me tickets next year. I think it's a really, really cool thing to be a part of as they go into Conference USA. I am now a permanent Owls fan, although I've always pulled for the Owls from a distance. It's a lot more enjoyable when you get entrenched in it like you and Garrett and Jan and Elise.
Whose ball?
Owls ball. Owls ball.
No, it's
and,
a fun
and thanks
experience.
to you at the women's game, we have changed it to that's what she said.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, we do.
Turns out because I can't remember anything, I'm changing things as I go, you know.
Robert's such a creative genius.
I am.
But, yeah, we've got a good crew that comes out and follows the show regularly. Will's certainly a big part of that, him and Garrett and Elise and Jan over there. We still need to focus on getting Jan on the show sometime.
I think we're going to have to trick her.
Yeah.
I have to take the on-air sign down.
Say,
Larry, you can't be here because if she sees you, she's going to know something's up. And then
So we're not on the show. We're just talking to you. Yeah.
just having a conversation.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. And Brandon Russell was on with us a couple of weeks ago. We want to get Brandon back out here. He kind of got short, what do you call it? Cut short because we wound up having an extra guest. And then we can talk about that real quick. Aaron Fromm, the golf coach, they kick off their season on Monday down in Boca Raton. Isn't that right?
Boca, named for Rat's Mouth.
Rat's Mouth. Robert and I actually offered to go down as caddies.
Turns out
They didn't need us.
They didn't need us.
Not that they didn't want us. They didn't need us.
Are you
Oh,
sure?
no. I think,
No.
it was for both of those reasons. I think he's mistaken. Turns out they were concerned that we, A, wouldn't be able to carry their heavy bags or walk the course. So, yes, they had problems with all sorts of things.
I could probably carry them like from the clubhouse to the golf cart, and that'd probably be about it. But
tell
you
you-
can't do that in a real tournament.
No, and I tell you, it's one thing that people do take for granted when thinking about golf. It's like, golf, you got to walk, no cart, and,
Unless you're Casey Martin.
Yeah, but that only lasted for a week and a half.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, go down to Cobblestone, which is not a full-size course, and just walk it. And then know that you got to wake up tomorrow morning and walk it again, and then the next day.
I walked.
It's a tough sport.
The last course I walked was North Fulton down at Chastain Park. Have you ever played down there?
I have never walked it.
I have walked it. We actually walked it one day. By the time we got to like the 12th hole, I said, "Can somebody go get me a cart?" Because it's a very, very hilly course.
It's tough.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, do we have anything else coming up this week other than the golf?
We got the dinner Friday night.
Oh yeah, talk about that a little bit. It's the first pitch dinner.
So the baseball program has started. This is a fundraiser where they do it's not a black tie dinner, but it's a nice dinner. You pay $200 a plate. It's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And they have a special guest. Last year was John Smoltz. This year is Bill Ripken,
Cal Ripken's brother.
Cal Jr.'s brother.
Cal Jr.'s brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cal's son.
Yeah.
But so he'll be there speaking, and they have an auction. So they've got several things they're auctioning off. Several signed baseballs. They have a helmet that's signed by the team last year, a jersey that's signed by the team. You can win a trip to ride with the team down to the Georgia Tech game. So you get on the bus, go down there. You get to hang out during batting practice, and then you get to get on the bus with a bunch of smelly guys to come back home.
Yes.
Been there, done that.
But so you could win all those auction items, and it's a really nice event. It was really well done last year.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the same thing this year.
That'd be nice.
That's great. So I know baseball starts in a couple of weeks. Everything.
Yeah, college baseball starts real early.
Yeah, lacrosse is cranking up. Everything. I was looking at the schedule this morning of what's going up, and, there's a
and
bunch
one
of
thing
stuff.
that we didn't cover earlier, indoor track and field started this past week.
Did it?
It did, and our very own Sarah Hendrick was named ASUN Women's Track Athlete of the Week, and our very own Chance Cross was named ASUN Freshman of the Week.
That's fantastic.
So
No, is Sarah the one that runs like the 800?
that's correct.
Oh my gosh!
And just for the record,
I can't
she
walk
won,
in 800.
She won the 800 meters in 2 minutes and 3.51 seconds. That is tops in the ASUN, third in the U.S., and fifth in the NCAA this season.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty
so,
strong.
You know that's pretty strong. When you with thousands and thousands of people doing the exact same race, and you're third fastest this year, yeah, that's pretty good.
That's
Well,
pretty
yeah,
good.
and what Robert just said, this it tells a lot about KSU sports. It's not just the basketball.
No.
It's not just the tennis. It's not just baseball. It's track and field, and everything's moving up. So we were very excited to be a part of this, and we have come to an end of another Owl Show. But we had a great show. We appreciate Teddy Parrish being with us, and as always, appreciate Will the Thrill sitting in for us for a few minutes.
No problem.
Robert, great show, guys. Thanks for coming out. Give me one more big hooty hoo. Hooty hoo. All right, and we'll see you next week on the Owl Show. Have a great week.